Hello everyone, I am extremely nervous right now, but this is my story, and a good way to describe it is I never really had a hard life. I had a rough life. I had parents who loved me, but the thing is I was very lonely growing up because I grew up as an only child, no brothers, no sisters. I moved a lot, so I didn't really have any type of relationship, and it was a struggle to deal with. I became a very depressed child at a very young age. I moved a lot. I moved from my hometown of Fresno to Santa Cruz, back to the valley, and just all over the place growing up. And it was hard because every relationship I made, friendship, girlfriend, even my family members, everything was temporary. Anytime I tried to make a connection with somebody, it wouldn't last. And every day I would pray to God, God, please bless me with the best friend. Bless me with somebody who I can confide in, somebody. See, when I was growing up, I lived in Santa Cruz. That's really where most of my childhood I can remember. And it was one of the happiest times for me. And because I had both my parents were back together, and it was amazing. But I was still lonely because I was just by myself. I was an introvert at first. I didn't want to talk to anybody. People scared me. People judged me for who I was. This outgoing person, they didn't like it. They thought it was weird. Like, why is this person happy? And so it was a struggle. We ended up moving back to our old hometown, and my dad ended up becoming a youth pastor, and that's when I got more into knowing God better. And it was interesting actually, because my dad had to rely on me a lot, because towards my very first day of high school, my parents separated, and that was a very, very hard thing to go through, because I was still struggling with people leaving me, and for my mom to leave was such a painful thing to deal with, because I was really close to her. I was a mama's boy growing up, and so it was hard to see her walk out. And in doing so, I developed this face of hiding my emotions through a smile, because I realized I didn't want people to feel how I felt every day: depression, loneliness, the abandonment issues, all of that. And so I would smile and make friends and trying to make their lives happy when my life is crumbling down. And that was hard, because I would invest time into so many people just for them to leave again and again and again. And it was difficult. And as I grew up and as I got out of high school, I ended up moving in with my mom. We worked things out. We were doing better as our relationship was doing so much better. And I was actually saving money to move to Portland, Oregon with, at the time, my girlfriend. And growing up, there was three major people in my life. I have a huge family, but the three people who influenced me were my mom, my dad, and my grandma. And my grandma instilled God's love, faith, forgiveness, and mercy into me. She taught me all about that. I have never met anybody as in love with God as she was. It was amazing. But sadly, January of 2014, she passed away of old age. And that was hard. Like, we were all expecting it, but it didn't make it any easier. Just because you expect something, it was really hard to deal with. That was the woman who raised me. I was her, she considered me her son, not just her grandson. I was, in her words, her baby boy. And it was hard to see her going through this pain of slowly passing away and trying her hardest to hold on to the faith as she goes through this pain of not being able to walk anymore, of not being able to do normal things. And it was hard to see her through that. But I know she was in a better place. In her wake, that's when I realized I wanted to become a pastor. But I was still new to the idea of that, and so I still kind of ran away, and I went to Portland, spent some time up there. Things didn't work out with my girlfriend, and I ended up moving back to California. and ended up moving with my dad in Pismo. And that's where he brought me to a church, Hope Church. And that's where I met my mentor, Pastor Eric. And thanks to him, he really helped instill what it really means to be a Christian. Just because you're messed up doesn't make God love you any less. And it was awesome to get that. And as I studied with him more, and I got closer to him, and I got closer to the church, I was starting my career path of becoming a pastor. And then my life was kind of coming together. You see, my mom, me and her relationship was doing so much better. She got engaged. She had 4 children, and she reconciled with her brother, with her cousin, with her mom, who she hated at the time. And it was beautiful for my family to be growing so much, because as I would pray every day for God to bless my best friend, I now have so many people who I can rely on now. Over here in Pismo, in the Valley, even in Portland, everywhere, I made friends. God didn't just give me the friends, He gave me the tools to make friends. And it was amazing to go through that, to see how God brought me. But that happiness, like I said, was temporary until 2015 in September. That was the day me and my dad got the call that my mom passed away. And that was the hardest thing I ever had to deal with. She passed away in a car accident. It was so much different than losing my grandma, because we expected it. It was old age. But this was something completely different. As me and my mom's relationship grew, and we were getting to where we used to be, it was taken away. And it still is hard. Every day is a struggle to smile, to laugh, because I'm just reminded, any good thing happened to me, I call my dad and tell him, guess what? This happened, or whatever. And then I want to call her, I pick up my phone, but I remember, I can't call her. So going through that was so hard. But the beauty of it, though, despite going through that, God showed me who my true friends are. And on all the tragedy I've dealt with my entire life, He showed me that He's there. He gave me friends that I don't have to go through this alone. I have friends I can rely on. It was amazing to get the text messages, the calls, everything from people saying, we're there for you. And it was comforting. And in her wake, I saw people's lives changing, doing 180s, because they knew where she was going, and they wanted to be with her. A lot of people were still angry at God, but I could see it slowly changing. In fact, about a month ago, my cousin on my mom's side, I just found out, has MS, multiple sclerosis syndrome. It's basically a deterioration of your muscles. And that was hard. I started to get angry because why is this happening to my family again? Why are we going through a tough time? But just like in her wake, it brought my family back together, relying on each other, and it was beautiful to see that. And then a few days later, we found out, a very close friend of mine, who she calls me her brother, we just found out that her middle son died at the age of 8. And I got angry again. I was mad. I was like, God, why? Why is this happening to the people I hold close? Why are they going through this? And as me and my dad are driving up there to go check on her, I'm getting ready to comfort her and whatnot. But as we get there, she comes up to us and she goes, I'm fine. I'm glad you guys are finally here. I have something to tell you. For the past few weeks, I've been having dreams of Mom every single day. And the last dream I had, right before my son passed away, she had a dream that she came over, picked him up in her car, and she was like, where are you going? She's like, don't worry about it. And left. And she says that she has never felt comfort like that before. And I lost my mom, but I have no idea what it's like to lose a child. That's something completely and utterly different. And to her to have that kind of faith still reminded me that God is always there. Everything happens for a reason. If my mom didn't pass, she wouldn't have comfort like this. Asking me and my dad to pray over her son, her youngest son, who's going through surgery. And It's amazing. Despite everything that you go through, as your world is crumbling down, I know what that feels like. God is there. The good is there. You just gotta look for it. I grew up lonely, depressed, angry, by myself, not having a best friend until I was in high school. And now I have a family. I have people I can rely on, people who I can call my brother, my sister. And it's beautiful, the gifts that God can give you, the blessings that God can give you. Things may be hard now, and it won't get hard later on too. But they will get better. You just gotta get through it. Rely on God. You don't have to do this alone. He gave you the tools and the people around you to help you get through it. He is right there next to you.